Welcome once again to the Complicated Burrito. Here's your podcast host, Alan Brooks.
On today's show, we have Nancy Rich. Nancy is a senior advocate, and she's also the Senior Center Coordinator for Bates County, Missouri. All right, let's give Nancy a call and see if she's home.
Hello, Alan.
Nancy Rich.
How you doing?
Good.
Fantastic.
Welcome to the Complicated Burrito.
I'm honored.
When I had talked to you about being on the show, I'd mentioned your senior activism, and you corrected me and said that you were not an activist, but an advocate. Can you tell me and the listeners a little bit about that?
Okay. An activist is centrally focused on their mission. And in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, sometimes they get a little overbearing for my taste. I'm not saying all of them are that way, but an advocate educates on the reason why a certain vote should be made. They are willing to educate legislators, anybody else who would listen to them. And I firmly believe that if one needs to hold a protest against something they believe is wrong, I feel that it's better to educate and not centrally demand. I don't like people demanding stuff on me. I would much rather they talk with me and educate me.
Right.
Okay?
That's really interesting.
So,
well, how long have you been a senior advocate?
oh my goodness. It kind of chose me. To start with, the very first senior I fell in love with was my grandmother Bush. To me, she was the coolest person in the world. My brothers and my sister and my cousins and I used to fight to spend the night with grandmother. She had the softest bed. She was the type of person that played games with you, listened to you.
Yep.
You know, grandparents are better than parents.
Well,
you know?
Yeah.
They just treat you differently.
I can remember my grandma making, homemade ice cream and playing Chinese checkers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
family.
I played that with my grandmother too.
So you got a lot of schooling behind you. I see you got a lot of certifications, a CMA, a CNA, a CMT, and an EMT.
Yes.
You got a bachelor's in project management.
Yes.
And you got your bachelor's degree while you was working full time at the same time, right?
It was with Colorado Technical University online. I'm in. If you remember the commercial.
I've taken some credited online courses, and that's the way to go.
Yes, sir, it is. What are your courses on?
Veterinarian assistant.
Oh, very cool. Very needed.
Yeah.
Very needed.
Yeah,
I think I remember you telling me that at one time.
Right, yeah. Well, a lot of people didn't even take that step, and it was a 6-month online course, which is easy enough, And the next step would be like 2 years at a community college, and which was tech. So
right.
I just wanted to get the assisting and see what I could learn,
Yeah, I'm going to have to hook you up with my friend Marilyn Pollard in Texas, because that's what she worked at.
EMT, did you get that? Have you ever worked as an EMT?
Yes, I have.
Wow.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, at the senior center, I've often told my volunteers that they know I don't like trauma, which means injury. I have taken them to the hospital before. In fact, the assessment skills that I've learned as an EMT, I can look at you and tell if you're doing good or if you're not doing so good.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I had the best teacher in the world.
Now, what's a CMA?
CMA is a certified medication aid.
Okay, so you can give out medication.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only difference between my CMA and my CMT is I have a certification now to give insulin shots.
What is CMT?
CMT is Certified Medication Technician.
Okay, what's CNA?
Certified Nursing Assistant.
Wow, you have got a lot of certifications under your belt.
Yeah, well, a lot of hard work goes behind those certifications.
Yeah, right. Now, you grew up in a military family, so you were on the move all the time, right?
Absolutely. And I tell you the truth, it's a survivable type lifestyle. It kind of works on you in relationships in some ways, but in other ways it gives you exposure to the type of travel that a lot of people in small towns could not identify with unless they were in the military. I lived about 6 months as a child in the Philippines.
Okay, I've been there twice.
Yeah, little place called Little Angeles.
Okay.
So, and then when I went back to the States, I kind of had fun with some of the kids at school. I would tell them about the huge flower blossoms, the bushes of huge flower blossoms that surrounded our house. All we had to do was open up our windows, and we didn't have to use Glade or anything. And then I also told them about the giant grasshoppers that would stand over your house, waiting for you to come out so they could eat you.
I'm picturing that in my mind.
But, and then I could tell them about the giant army ants that would come and get rid of all the insects. The army ants are true.
So your father served in Vietnam?
Yes, sir. He did one tour, and he actually retired in 1974, which was the same year my husband joined the Marine Corps.
Wow, that's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Well, I saw your husband was in Desert Storm, and he retired in '94.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Well, I was kind of like what Margaret Houlihan said. She that she was a military brat through and through, and she thought civilians were people who were waiting for their uniforms to come back from the laundry.
Yeah, right. That's funny. What does the word geriatric mean? Geriatrics.
Okay, geriatrics is the study of old people.
Okay.
That's basically what it's the study of. In fact, I would love to get a degree in geriatrics. Most of my geriatric knowledge is through experience.
Okay. I've heard the word on TV and in commercials and stuff, but I knew it was related to seniors in some way. And what is the definition of a senior? I mean, what is the age like?
Okay, a baby boomer actually was born between 1945 through 1960. And some people say 1965, but I don't know. It's according to where you get your information from. But according to what I've learned, people born between 1945 and 1960.
Well, I'm starting to get those letters in the mail, you know.
The AARP.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you got your free bag yet?
I did. I did. Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm 57 now, you know. I graduated in 80.
Okay.
And then I went in the Navy directly.
Right.
And so I went, Japan and the Philippines, and I was all over,
Oh, yeah. So you have travel experience.
Yes. Well, I think it's good for everybody to get out at least a little bit.
Exactly.
Outside of your comfort zone or your area,
What's the comfort zone?
I guess even if
That's like asking the question, what's normal?
Yeah, well, I guess if you get out of your state, because even state to state, cultures differ so much,
Oh yeah.
There's so much just here in America to see, but if you can get over into Europe, at least once in your life, I always tell people, please do it, because there's just so much history, and everywhere you're walking, the people before you, the stories, and it's just amazing.
Well, I tell you what, if you want to learn a piece of history, go to an old person. Go to a person who was born before the baby boomers, if you can find one.
Mm-hmm.
They are walking history books.
I've got a possible interview set up with a senior, and he's, I think, 95. And
cool.
I'm going to take my mobile recorder over there to him and try and get him talking,
Oh, let me tell you something. You will learn more from that man than you will ever learn from anybody.
Yep.
They have seen it all. I would love it. I have she's a board member. She also comes to the senior center and volunteers. Next month on the 24th, she will turn 100 years old.
Wow. Now,
her name is Miss Edie Dilly.
Nice.
And let me tell you, I wish somebody would record her history.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's phenomenal, some of the things that she's done, and even some of the things she's accomplished after she turned 90.
Well,
and that's what people don't understand.
Maybe we can get her on the show.
It'll take some doing, believe me. She don't.
I completely understand.
Wow.
She'll
have to meet you first, Alan.
Right. That's not a problem. Before my grandma passed away, I was fortunate enough to get some footage of her on video of reciting some poems, and boy, she was just sharp as a tack,
Yeah.
And she wouldn't let me come back and do it again, but at least I got those little bits,
Right. Absolutely.
So, I wanted to talk to you about something else, and that was
sure.
the other thing that you like to do, and that's you're a writer.
I have been known to do a little writing. I'm not as, in fact, I had the opportunity to go back to some of my school assignments, and I'm reading along, and I'm like, are you sure that was you who wrote that, Nancy? Are you serious? But I write a monthly newsletter. That's the only thing I have really published.
Mm-hmm.
But I have written a few poems. I have written it's a fiction. It's called Pimped Out. I haven't published it, but
now, is that a book? Is it a book?
Yes.
Okay.
I've written a few poems,
Yeah, I've got one right here.
Yeah.
Lady Liberty.
Yes. And I wrote that out of a painful heart after seeing how things were going in our government and our nation, and I just needed to write it. And that's what happens when people are writers. They often write out their emotions, and especially painful ones, sometimes out of joyful emotions. Creative writing is based out of emotion, much like painting and sculpting and music writing.
Sure.
Stuff like that. So it's a release.
Now, how many poems do you have?
Not very many. Poetry is not my strongest suit. I like to write things nowadays to help educate, especially educate seniors now so that they can live a healthier, more productive life, a more purposeful life, let's put it that way.
Well, there's a lot of ways to publish ebooks now on the internet. I've got like 9 ebooks out on Amazon and Kindle.
Really?
Myself, yeah.
Yeah. A friend of mine is doing a Amazon business, and she's trying to encourage me to publish through Amazon.
Yeah.
I need a little more detail on what's going on, and we may get back to that sometime.
Cool. Now, currently you're running the Senior Center in Butler, Missouri?
Yes. I am the Senior Center coordinator for Bates County.
Okay.
And what I do is I work directly with volunteers in the front of the house. We serve hot nutritional meals there at the Butler Senior Center, and she's not my cook, but our culinary manager is what she calls herself. Does the kitchen area, and I work the front, and I do the administrative work. I also lead and guide seniors in their voluntary work, and we also provide home-delivered meals for homebound seniors, 60 and older.
Well, I've stopped in there. I've been in there 2 or 3 times, and you guys do a lot of amazing stuff. Now, you guys provide meals, and you've got games and activities, and
yeah.
What else do you guys do?
Miss Nadine is practically a better project manager than I am, because she's rallied volunteers to sew together little stuffed animals that they gave away to the different emergency centers, like the police department, the sheriff's department, for when they have to deal with children.
Right.
They get a little stuffed animal.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, in fact, they made some more because they started running out. We gave them to the hospital, especially the ambulances. We gave them to the Lily House out there in Adrian. Just different agencies that have to sometimes work with kids. So, and then she does little parties, kind of like she had a type party that was dealing with different things that pertain to seniors. She set it up to where, like the pharmacist from Sunshine Pharmacy came and talked to the seniors about medications. We had a booth for people to talk to them about physical exercise using Good Shepherd Hospice. Heartland Hospice came over, and they were playing what is called a balloon bash, where you use the swimming noodles, half a swimming noodle,
Yeah.
and balloons, and you hit them. Yeah, great. I mean, and
That sounds like
you
fun.
know, different games and stuff like that.
Sure.
She's always coming up with projects.
That's neat. Well, I know Christmas time's always a big deal around there.
Oh yeah, we have Santa Claus come out. The year before last, we had 2 Santa Clauses come out.
So do you have any future things coming up?
Yes, right now the city of Butler is trying to take off their plate the senior taxi, which
Right.
has been running for 40 years, okay?
Right.
And the city's in trouble. So a group of us has got together with Representative Patricia Pike, and they met with some of the city councilmen to come up with a different solution. Another group of us with the Northerner Commissioner, and he came in as a citizen and not just because he's the Northern Commissioner. And we're trying to set up a different program since Oaks Transportation did not pan out. We are looking at 2 possible situations. One is with West Central in collaboration with them to set up transportation that would help cover the county. We're also looking at the possibility of becoming a limited liability nonprofit.
I think it really just all comes down to funding, really.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I know getting Patricia Pike on board is smart.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Because she is interested in what's going on with seniors. She was very integral during the subcommittee for the senior taxi. She kind of...
For those that don't know, she's the state representative for Bates County, Missouri, right?
She is the 126th district state representative.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I've met her several times. She's a great lady.
She's a down-to-earth, wonderful lady. She's a down-home type person. She doesn't put on airs or anything. She's a former teacher, and I really look up to her. In fact, I saw her today. The Santa's Elves here in Rich Hill was having a fundraiser, and she came to it, and she and I sat down and
That's great.
was having pulled pork together.
That's cool. Yeah, she makes time for people, you know, and and she doesn't act like she's in a hurry to get away from you, you know.
Exactly. We also met up with a lady that who has opened up her home to people who are trying to get away from drugs and alcohol.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll have to introduce you to her sometime.
Holy moly.
Phenomenal lady.
Man, I've been down that road just a little bit, and wow, she's taken on a lot. That's amazing. No, that's amazing, man. I'm glad there's people out there that can do that. Well, you know, I wanted to tell you, too, that I have talked to several people that locally about the problem with the senior taxi, and they told me, you know, I mean, they didn't bat an eye, and they said they would help fundraise, that they want to help. You know, I told them, you know, it could be, you know, I'm not sure how much a year, you know, the budget, you know, would be. You know, we'd have to find out all that, but so I know you got a lot of support.
Yes, and I appreciate that, and I without giving names, I told them that we had some funding help coming in, just waiting to come in. But there's some other help that we could use. If any of your friends are maybe an intern or a corporate lawyer who is willing to do some pro bono work, because we are going to need someone like that to help guide us in the incorporation thing, especially with being able to become a limited liability nonprofit.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and we could use an accountant.
Well, Nancy,
Okay.
I'll put some links under the podcast, and if somebody wants to help out, they can also get a hold of me, and I will direct them to you.
Fantastic. We greatly appreciate this, Alan.
No problem. I'm glad to help. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for being my guest today on The Complicated Burrito. Really enjoyed having you and talking to you. A very interesting conversation today.
Yes, and thank you, Alan. Thank you for all your help, your support, and your friendship, most of all.
Oh, well, I love what you do. We've been friends a long time now, and
yeah.
So, and I want to get you back on the show, down the road, and we'll catch up and see, what's been happening.
Absolutely. It'd be my honor, Alan.
Okay, Nancy. Well, you have a great day, and thanks again.
Thank you, Alan. Take care, bud.
Okay, bye. All right, that was a really interesting conversation with Nancy Rich. I'd like to thank you for listening to the podcast today. On behalf of Revo 24 Radio, I'm Alan Brooks for The Complicated Burrito.
Revo 24. Your 24-hour music connection, bringing you the best from across the globe.